No aluminum. No aluminum. No aluminum. Aluminum free. Aluminum free. No aluminum. No aluminum. 0% aluminum. No aluminum. Aluminum free. 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 Honestly, why is aluminum still allowed in antiperspirants? I mean, at this point, everyone seems to be using an aluminum-free deodorant, so this stuff must be quite bad for you, right? Before we go any further, we have to clarify something. All antiperspirants are sweat-stopping products that contain aluminum, while deodorants just control odor and they don't contain aluminum. This is because the US FDA actually requires the use of aluminum for an antiperspirant to call itself an antiperspirant rather than just a deodorant. And most countries in the world actually have that same requirement. So this begs a really big question. Are antiperspirants safe? For a very long time, the official answer to this question was probably, but more research is necessary. For example, a 2002 study in Washington state found that across 800 breast cancer patients and 800 healthy subjects, antiperspirant use was not associated with a higher risk of cancer. A 2006 study in Iraq had the same finding, and across a lot of studies that examined a link between antiperspirant use and some disease, there was no association found. But we haven't seen aluminum to cause harm isn't fully reassuring unless we understand whether aluminum could cause harm. And in 2014, the European Union decided to settle this question once and for all. Now, the EU is probably more concerned about ingredient safety than any other government in the world. They even considered banning hand sanitizer over the alcohol in it. So in 2014, the EU put out a report that effectively said they'd reviewed all the studies, they'd reviewed all the data, and they thought that antiperspirants were probably safe. But there was just one piece of data missing, and that's how much aluminum our bodies actually absorb. Because here's the thing a lot of people don't realize. Aluminum is all around us. It's the third most abundant element on Earth. So it's in our soil, it's in our water, and it's in our food. In food, this particularly means vegetables, as these have the most immediate contact with the earth. Some of the highest aluminum concentrations are found in potatoes, in spinach, and in asparagus. So the EU knew that we eat a lot of aluminum every day. But it turns out that only a very small fraction of that actually gets absorbed into our bloodstream. So what they were concerned about was bioavailability. Do we absorb more aluminum from antiperspirants than we do from food? Because this stuff only has as much aluminum in it as a handful of dirt does. But does a concerning amount of it actually cross your skin and enter your bloodstream? A 2001 study of 2 people using antiperspirant found that their bodies got 40 times as much aluminum from food as they did from the antiperspirant. Case closed, right? Not quite. This study only followed 2 people, and a subsequent 2012 study found a higher absorption rate, but it was using synthetic skin, and this is why in 2014, the EU said we need more data. In that official 2014 report, what the scientists called for specifically was a human exposure study under use conditions. So basically, they wanted to see antiperspirants used by a lot of people, the way that you and me would use antiperspirants day to day, and they wanted to see what the aluminum levels from that in the body were. A 2016 study answered the call and used a radioactive tracer to determine how much aluminum 12 women absorbed from using antiperspirant. The result? The amount absorbed was so small that it couldn't be measured. But the EU wasn't happy. They went to the authors of that study and said, we need a precise reading. So they had them up the dose of radioactive tracer to what was considered the maximum ethically justifiable amount, just to get a precise reading of that aluminum absorption. So in a follow-up 2019 study, they upped the tracer and found that the portion of aluminum absorbed was 0.0005%. That's about 23 times less than what the 2-person study estimated, and it means that an average person will absorb over 900 times more aluminum each day from eating food than from applying antiperspirant. So the answer was pretty clear. If your body absorbs 900 times more aluminum from eating food than from using antiperspirants, that means that antiperspirants are perfectly safe. And in 2020, the EU published their final report, answering the question once and for all. Now, the Alzheimer's Association, the World Health Organization, the FDA, and countless others had all reached the same conclusion before. Antiperspirants are safe. So does that mean that the aluminum-free labels in there are coming off anytime soon? Of course not. In their statement about antiperspirant safety, the American Cancer Society takes a guess as to why that is. Quote, "This rumor has been posted by people that sell deodorants that are not antiperspirants. So some people might benefit financially
from spread of this misinformation. It's not much of a surprise when you consider that over $20 billion of aluminum-free deodorants are sold each year. Now, those of you who know me know that I'm the co-founder of Carpe. I've been making antiperspirants for over 7 years, and I wouldn't be doing that if I wasn't certain that they're safe. Because it matters a lot that we care about the products that we put on our bodies and how they impact our bodies. It matters a lot that the safety research keeps getting done. But when it comes to aluminum, the science is finally settled. Antiperspirants are safe. Till next time, stay dry.